Hello everyone and welcome back. This is part 2 of the Ouija board phenomenon, and this is where I talk to you about my experience with the Ouija board. So let's begin with when and where I did this. So I have done this a really long time ago, but I still remember it like if it was yesterday. I was in secondary school and I had a group of friends that were very interested in paranormal, which I'm not gonna lie, I was too. And because you're young and stupid, you don't think of the consequences. If everyone is doing it, you want to do it as well. Which I'm not saying that this is a good thing, because if you have your own brains, it's because you should use them, not just do things because everyone is doing it. Now, like I said, I was in secondary school. I must have been like 13, 14 years old, and there was an internet coffee place across the street from where our school was. So we would go there all the time. Internet wasn't a big thing yet. Most of the people didn't have internet at home, and because the school only had 2 computers, it was very hard to get time to use it because everyone was trying to use it, and obviously you had projects to do and to finish, so people would use the computers on that coffee shop. If I can remember correctly, they had about 12 computers in there, so a lot of people would go there on a daily basis. Now, this coffee shop had a basement where you had a pool table, and the lighting on that basement was really bad. Just for you to have an idea, there wasn't almost any light. They had just a little chandelier on top of the pool table, and that was it. So we decided that that place was the best place to do this. Now, in Portugal, not a lot of people had the Ouija board, so a friend of mine had to ask a friend of hers, there was a friend of someone, to borrow us the Ouija board. As soon as my friend got that, we decided to try it in the same day. We picked up the board straight away and took it to the internet cafe. We all sat down on the floor. I think it must have been 7 of us, maybe 6, around the Ouija board. So the Ouija board was on the floor and all of us were around it. So my friend was the one leading this whole operation because she was the one that understood actually how to do it. So basically she started by asking permission to get into the game, which immediately the wooden piece started to move. And I have to be honest, when I sat there to play the game, I wasn't scared at all, and I didn't believe that it would move. I was just like, no, that's not possible. I'm pretty sure that people are just moving it with their fingers. So I was there, but I wasn't actually believing in what I was doing. So when the wooden piece moved for the first time, and I saw that none of us were touching it, I swear to God, I felt this cold moving through my spine, and I literally froze. I think I never felt so afraid in my life. And bear in mind that I have sleep paralysis, but this game scared the crap out of me. Now, my immediate thought was I want to leave. I don't want to do it anymore. I want to leave. Which my friend said, you cannot leave the game. We all have to leave the game at the same time, and before we leave, we need to ask permission. So, because no one wanted to leave yet, I had to stay in there. The first thing that was asked to the spirit was, are you a good spirit or a bad spirit? Which he replied, I'm a good spirit. That didn't make me feel any better though, because if you were a bad spirit, you wouldn't say you're a bad spirit. And then, my friends started asking personal questions to see if he would get it right. They started asking questions of things that happened to them to see if he knew what actually happened, And to be honest, the answers were quite spot on. When it came to my turn, I decided to ask about my late grandfather. I had a very close relationship with him, and obviously I missed him very much. I had the feeling that we weren't talking to him. I didn't ask to talk to him, so it was probably the spirit of someone else. But I decided to ask about him. So there were things that only me and my grandfather knew, stories that no one else in that table knew about, and I decided to ask him something really, really personal that I'm not gonna tell you here. But the thing is, he answered it perfectly. So it's not that people on that room were actually moving the wooden piece, because they would not know how to answer my question. And when that happened, another feeling of cold struck my body. And I remember thinking, this is real. This is not something we should be doing. This is not something we should be dealing with. Now, once the questions were all answered and people were starting to feel really afraid, we decided that that was it. We wanted to leave. So we asked them if we could leave, which he replied no. At this point, when he replied no, we started freaking out, because we knew that we would not be able to leave the game until he said yes. So what he said was that he wanted to keep talking to us, he was having a good time, and he didn't want us to leave. But because we had a class starting in less than 15 minutes, we really had to go, otherwise we would miss the class. This was a very important class to go to, as we had a test on that day and we couldn't fail that day. So we keep asking the spirit to leave, and he kept replying no. So we left. And this is why I regret till this day ever playing that game, because once we left, weird things started to happen. Let me tell you that I was never harmed by it. Nothing bad happened to me, but a lot of things happened and I was very, very scared. So when we left the room, we had this heavy feeling in our chest. I don't know if this was our brain doing a prank on us, or if it was, sometimes when you think too much about something, it kind of feels real. So I don't know if it was because of that, but all of us were feeling the same thing. We got to the test. I speak for myself, I couldn't concentrate at all. I couldn't think properly. So on that day, because everyone was feeling the same way, we decided to all go home together. So everyone came to my house, and we thought it would be a good idea to have like a slumber party and just stay together and just, reflect on what happened. But before we went home, we went to the internet cafe again, because we wanted to search what could we do to make sure we wouldn't be struck by something more serious, by something more evil. And what happened is that we opened a door to the spirit to come into our world through material things. So the spirit wasn't strong enough, to use our bodies, but it was strong enough to stay in our clothes, and especially in the Ouija board. And all the advice we got from the internet, and I'm not saying that this is correct, is that we needed to burn the Ouija board, we needed to burn our clothes and everything that we were wearing while playing the game, which we did. We burned all our clothes, we burned our shoes, everything that we were wearing, we burned. And I remember, giving my friends pajamas to wear, which wasn't too weird, because we were having a slumber party anyway, so my mom didn't think too much about this. But we did burn everything like outside the house. But when it got to the time of burning the Ouija board, we decided to, cut it in pieces and then put it into the fire. But the thing was, it wouldn't break at all. It doesn't matter what we did, the Ouija board would not get damaged at all. And we tried so many things. At this point, we were super scared. We didn't know what to do. So we were like, just take it all and put it in the fire and let's be done with this, because I can't deal with this anymore. So we put it into the fire and it took a very long time to burn. So after 3 hours, it finally started to burn like any log of wood. And I swear to God that while that was burning, I could hear someone screaming. And this was what freaked us out even more, because every single one of us were hearing the same thing. And bear in mind that these weren't like loud screams. The screams were coming from the fire and it was very fainted screams. But it was enough to give me nightmares for a month. But I do have to say that while burning the Ouija board, that heavy sensation that I had on my chest was lifted, which made me feel a lot more comfortable, a lot more secure. And I started to feel, okay, this is finally over. Now, from that day forward, nothing else happened. I didn't have any paranormal experiences after that. I would feel scared once in a while, especially at night when it was dark, just because, you see, I went through this experience, so from time to time I would think about it, but that was all. Now, this is it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave me a thumbs up so my videos can get out there and more people can watch them. Don't forget to subscribe as well and join the family. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video.